the strength in stillness. The most solid foundations, they take years to build. You can't rush the foundation and expect the building to last. The same is true for anything meaningful in life. A strong relationship isn't built overnight. A successful business doesn't bloom in a week. A resilient mindset isn't developed in a day. These things take patience, endurance, and trust, even when you don't see immediate results. Patience is discipline. It's the ability to keep going, even when there's no proof that things are working yet. It's showing up every day, doing the work, believing in yourself, even when nothing around you is changing. Because real success doesn't happen in one big dramatic moment. It happens in the small, consistent efforts that add up over time. Too many people quit too soon. They plant seeds but walk away when they don't see growth right away. But just because you can't see something happening doesn't mean it isn't happening. The most important growth happens beneath the surface before it ever becomes visible. Roots take time to grow deep. Foundations take time to settle. And if you keep digging up your seeds just because they aren't growing fast enough, you'll never see the harvest. Patience isn't about doing nothing. It's not about waiting passively, hoping things magically fall into place. It's about trusting the process while continuing to work, continuing to believe, continuing to build, even when there's no immediate reward. It's the ability to keep moving without needing instant gratification. Society teaches people that if they don't see fast results, they're failing. That if they aren't making big moves, they're falling behind. But real power comes from understanding that not everything happens on your timeline. Some things take longer because they are meant to be stronger, more resilient, more unshakable. The longer you wait, the greater the reward. The stronger the foundation, the higher you can build. Patience is also proof of self-control. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen fast enough. It's easy to compare yourself to others and feel like you're behind. But when you are truly confident in your path, you don't need to rush. You don't need to chase. You don't need to force anything, because what's meant for you will always come at the right time, in the right way, when you're truly ready. The most successful people aren't the ones who rush to the top. They're the ones who took their time, built carefully, and stayed consistent. They knew that shortcuts lead to setbacks. Rushing leads to regret. Impatience leads to settling. They understood that anything worth having is worth waiting for. The wisdom of silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have. It is in silence that the truth is revealed. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop defending your actions, when you stop justifying your choices, people begin to show you exactly who they are. Some will stay, some will distance themselves, some will become uncomfortable, and some will try to pull you back to a place where they can control you. But if you stay silent, if you resist the urge to explain, you will start to see the truth that words have been covering up. Most people speak because they want to be understood. They want to be heard. They want others to see their side, to know their intentions, to respect their decisions. But what happens when you stop explaining? That's when the truth comes out. That's when you see who was really listening, who was only pretending to support you, who was waiting for you to fail, and who never really cared in the first place. When you explain yourself too much, you give people access to your thoughts, your emotions, and your vulnerabilities. Some people only want to hear you talk so they can use your words against you. They want you to justify your boundaries so they can break them. They want you to explain your growth so they can find a way to stop it. They want you to defend yourself so they can find ways to weaken your argument. But when you stay silent, you take away their power. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it forces them to reveal themselves. When you stop chasing, they show you if they ever truly cared. When you stop explaining, they show you if they ever truly understood. When you stop reaching out, they show you if they ever truly valued your presence. The ones who stay, who respect your silence, who still show up, those are the ones who matter. But the ones who disappear, who get angry, who try to guilt trip you into speaking, those are the ones who were only there for what they could take from you. The power of absence. Absence is a powerful teacher. It does what words cannot. It does what explanations fail to do. It forces people to sit with the reality of what they had, what they took for granted, and what they never truly appreciated. When you are always available, always present, always giving, people become blind to your value. They assume you will always be there. They start to believe that your kindness, your patience, and your presence are a given. But the moment you remove yourself, the moment your presence is no longer guaranteed, something shifts. That's when they realize what they lost. People rarely appreciate what they have when it's within reach. They assume love, loyalty, effort, and time are things they're entitled to. They take kindness as an expectation rather than a gift. Absence forces them to face the emptiness left behind. It makes them confront the reality that nothing was ever guaranteed. When you're always showing up despite how you're treated, people lose sight of your worth. They assume you need them more than they need you. But when you step back, stop explaining, chasing, and proving, they are left with nothing but reflection. And that's when the real lesson begins. Absence reveals truth. It creates space for realization. It forces people to feel the void you once filled, the phone calls that no longer come, the support that is no longer there, the warmth that is now missing. And in that silence, they finally begin to understand, not through words, not through conversations, but through experience. Presence is often unnoticed until it turns into absence. It's easy to overlook what's always there. It's easy to assume something constant will remain constant, but when it's gone, the truth becomes unavoidable. People realize too late that what they ignored was actually irreplaceable. The trap of validation. Validation is a drug, a silent addiction that controls people without them even realizing it. It starts small, the desire to be accepted, the need to be acknowledged, the craving for someone to say, "You're doing great." Before you know it, you're living your life based on the reactions of others. You dress a certain way for approval. You speak a certain way to fit in. You chase things that don't even matter to you just because they look successful in the eyes of others. And in doing so, you lose yourself. The need for validation is one of the greatest traps in life. It keeps people stuck. It keeps them playing small. It keeps them afraid to take risks, afraid to stand alone, afraid to live life on their own terms. Because as long as you seek approval, you're giving others power over you. You're letting them decide what is right for you. You're letting them define what is acceptable, what is worthy. Real power does not beg to be noticed. It does not seek applause. It does not need approval before taking action. The people who are truly powerful, the ones who are truly respected, move with quiet confidence. They don't need to announce what they're doing. They don't need to explain themselves. They don't need permission to be great. They just are. And when you stop seeking validation, you gain a new level of respect, not just from others, but from yourself. When you truly know your worth, you move differently. You stop looking for confirmation before making a decision. You stop waiting for someone to tell you you're on the right path. You stop relying on likes, comments, applause, or attention to feel valuable, because you already know your value. Confidence is magnetic, self-assurance is powerful, and not trusting the timing of your life. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly rushing. We push ourselves to achieve, to get ahead, to move faster. We live in a culture of instant gratification, where everything is expected to happen now. But nature teaches us something different. Nature reminds us that growth takes time, that life is a process, that timing is not something we can force. Just like the seasons change at their own pace, just like trees grow in their own time, just like rivers flow at their natural speed, your life will unfold exactly when it's supposed to. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done. The sun rises and sets without being rushed. Flowers bloom when they're ready, not when we demand it. Rain falls when the time is right, not when we choose. We are part of that same rhythm. Let go of the need to control. Too often, we try to force life to move on our timeline. We panic if things don't happen quickly. We compare ourselves to others and wonder why they seem ahead. But life doesn't follow our clock. It moves at its own pace. And the more we try to rush, the more we miss out on the beauty of the journey. Your journey is unique. Growth cannot be rushed. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Everything you're working for will come when the time is right. And when it does, it will feel natural, right, and powerful. Because you didn't chase it, you allowed it, you created space, you stayed silent, and everything came exactly as it was meant to. Subscribe to my channel, Limitless Mindset, for more powerful reminders to stay grounded, focused, and unshakably true to yourself.